Planetary Charity is very similar. It's what's your relationship to Venus based on the condition in your chart? What is Venus asking of you? And if Venus and you aren't getting along, Venus and I are not getting along, by essential dignity, we get along pretty well in life because I work with her. But if you and Venus aren't getting along, what does Venus need? What is that relationship lacking? How can you amend that? And then maybe not have the more challenging manifestations of that condition.
So can you give examples to our listeners of what planetary charity can look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So each planet is going to be the ruler or govern different things. If you imagine the whole world like a family tree, where there's an original ancestor, that would be your source creator. The idea of what is called the great chain of being is that everything gets broken down from there. So you have some traditions call it the monad. It's the everything, the all. And then it becomes more and more discrete as you go down until you get to the most mundane things like rocks and plants and whatever. And there's just bajillions after a while. So the moon will rule things that are like the moon. So plants that grow in water or that are more bulbous, onions, because they have a lot of water in them and they're white. So you can look at certain things and certain types of people. The moon is, of course, mothers and different kinds of things in that sense. Mercury is a lot with children, messengers, those kinds of things. Mars would be soldiers and veterans and people who are, or athletes. So you have these things where when I say it, you're like, oh yeah, I could see how that's Mars, because you get Mars's vibe, right? And so you can find, William Lilly is a great resource for this, but there are many. You can find things that'll break down what each planet governs. So if, say, you've got Venus in your chart, she's not doing well, you say, okay, Venus, what's important to Venus and how can I give her more of that because she's lacking it. So, being more conscious in relationships, focusing on art, on beauty, on self-comfort and appreciation, just making connections with people and bringing peace in certain areas. Venus, of course, is very relatable to Aphrodite, but also to a bunch of other beautiful, powerful, divine feminine kind of thing. You look at me, you might be able to say, yeah, I can see how they are not necessarily aligned with Venus, who would make you very much on the feminine side, right? So it's expressing in my life for sure, but I'm looking at Venus and I'm saying, who are you? And how can I help you? How can I help embody that in the way that we're doing this in life? So it feels very co-creative and cooperative with the planets. And it depends on the condition of the planet in your chart, what the planet rules. And then, there's the recommendation, you could always just donate money to a cause. Like if you have a debilitated Mars, you could donate to a veterans charity. But one of the things that I prefer, and I've heard this from other astrologers / astro magicians like Austin Coppock, they mention get as close to the source as you can. Because it's one thing to just, have a monthly payment to a charity, which is so great. But it's another thing to actually go and be with these people and really understand what Mars is trying to tell you. So you have both of those options depending on what's actually accessible to you if you feel drawn to doing this kind of thing.